So February, March 2016, paper 2, variant 2. We already discussed first 20 questions. '21 onwards. Question 21. I want participation from everyone. A substance is heated with aluminum foil to in aqueous sodium hydroxide. So there is aluminum foil and sodium hydroxide. A gas is produced which turned the damp red litmus blue. What could be the answer? Which ion is present? Basically, this is a test for which ion. So when you add an aluminum foil or aluminum powder followed by sodium hydroxide and heat, the gas is ammonia gas, and this is actually a test for nitrate. For carbonate, how we test a carbonate? We normally add an acid, it will give a phase. To test iodide ion, we normally add silver nitrate or lead nitrate, it will give yellow precipitate. To test nitrate, this is a test adding aluminum powder and followed by sodium hydroxide and heat. To test sulfate ion, we add barium nitrate or barium chloride because it results in a formation of barium sulfate, which is white PPT. Question 22. An element does not conduct electricity and exists as a diatomic molecule. It does not conduct electricity and exists as a diatomic molecule. Yes, so correct answer is C. Why not A or B? Because A and B are metals and metal can conduct electricity. That's why it cannot be A or B. Then it is a non-metal, but non-metal D is a group 8. Group 8 does not exist as diatomic, they exist as monoatomic. Like helium, you will find He only, neon, Ne, argon, xenon, krypton. They all exist as monoatomic. That's why C is the right answer. Question 23. 23. This is related to periodic table. In a periodic table, how does the metallic character of an element vary from left to right? So metallic, because when you check the metallic character, the nature, this is a periodic table, you will find most of the metals on the left hand side and the non-metals on the right hand side. So when you move from left to right, what happened to metallic character? It decreases. And as you go down the group, the metallic character increase. Why it increases? Because the size increase, so metals can lose their electron easily. Tendency of the metal is to lose electron. So moving from left hand side to right hand side, what happened to metallic character? It decreases. That's why A is the right answer. Question 24. So in question 24, the element in a group of a periodic table shows the following trend. The element with the lowest proton number has the lowest reactivity. So lowest proton number having a lowest reactivity. Like when we check for group 1, as we go down the group for group 1, the reactivity increases. But for when we check for group 7, as we go down the group, the reactivity decreases. So what is happening down the group? The proton number, the number of the proton is increasing. And here also number of proton is also increasing. So they mention the element with the lowest proton has the lowest reactivity. So it matches with group 1. Why? Because like example you have lithium, then you have sodium, potassium. So lithium is having less protons and it is less reactive. Potassium is having more protons and it is more reactive. All the elements of this group form a basic oxide. So this gives an idea it's a metal. That's why metal oxide is there. Then the density of the element increases as we go down the group. So density always increases. Then the melting point of element decreases as we go down the group. The melting point is decreasing. So which one it matches with? Density for even for group 1 or for group 7, when we go down the group, the density increase. But what about the melting point? For group 1, the melting point decreases as we go down the group, and group 7, the melting point increases as we go down the group. So it matches with A, group 1. Question 25. Question 25. Brass is an alloy of two metals. Which row gives the correct use of the two metals the brass is made up of? Brass is actually an alloy of copper and zinc. So basically you have to mention use of copper. So copper is used as a electrical wiring. That's right. And zinc is more reactive, so it is used for galvanizing the steel. So A is the right answer. Question 26. Question 26. Iron is extracted from hematite in a blast furnace. The hematite contains silicon 4 oxide as an impurity, which react with this impurity to remove it. Like what reacted with silicon 4 oxide to remove silicon 4 oxide from the mixture? So silicon 4 oxide is a non-metal oxide. Non-metal oxide can react with metal oxide. So the silicon 4 oxide or SiO2, it reacted with calcium oxide, which result in a formation of slag, calcium silicate, CaSiO3. Carbon is used to produce carbon, or like carbon is a reducing agent, or it can also produce carbon monoxide, which is a good reducing agent that can be used to remove the oxygen from iron ore, hematite. And slag is what is formed here is a slag. Slag is not used here. Slag is formed when metal oxide here, calcium oxide, react with acidic oxide, the silicon oxide, result in a formation of slag. Question 27. The reaction is known as the thermite reaction. Which pair of substance react in a similar way? Like basically the idea is that aluminium is more reactive, so it displaces iron from its compound. The question is which one reaction will proceed? The same way the one of the metal will react or displaces the other one. Keep in mind the more reactive metal displaces the less reactive metal from its compound. So according to reactivity series, you have potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, lead, copper, mercury, silver, gold, and platinum. So iron with magnesium, iron with magnesium. So this will not occur. Why it will not occur? Because iron is less reactive. Iron with zinc, so iron with zinc, again iron is less reactive, so it cannot displace. Magnesium with copper, magnesium is more reactive, and copper oxide is copper is less reactive, so it can displace. Zinc and aluminium, zinc is less reactive than aluminium, so it cannot displace. So always the more reactive displaces the less reactive from its compound. Question 28. One method of preventing rusting of iron is to keep oxygen away from the surface of the metal. Which way of rust prevention does not use this method? You want to prevent iron from rusting. You don't want the iron to rust. And how you can protect the iron from rusting is by keeping the oxygen away so that oxygen cannot r- come in contact with the surface of iron. But in this, which way of rust prevention does not use this method? The correct answer is B. Why B? That is basically a sacrificial protection. Coating the iron with grease. Like example, if you have a piece of iron, so this is a piece of iron. So if I coat with a grease, when I coat this iron with the grease, so basically how I am protecting the iron, I am not letting oxygen to come in contact with iron. That's how I am protecting. Like oxygen cannot come in contact with directly with iron. So this method is using oxygen, like means keeping away the oxygen. Covering the iron with plastic, same thing. Instead of grease, if I coat it with plastic, the same technique is used, that we are preventing oxygen to interact with iron. Painting the iron, same idea, that the coating of the paint is there, which does not allow oxygen to interact with iron. But what happens when we use a more reactive metal, like example, if we coat it with zinc, so even though the iron is exposed, but this iron will not react. Why this iron will not react? Because zinc is more reactive than iron, so zinc will react instead of iron. So even though oxygen is there, oxygen can, or iron is exposed to oxygen, but iron will not react because zinc is more reactive, so oxygen will react with zinc. So this method is not keeping away the oxygen. Even iron is exposed to oxygen, but it will not rust due to sacrificial protection, zinc sacrifice for iron. Or we also call this as galvanizing when we coat with zinc. Question 29. 29. The diagram shows how water is treated to make it suitable for drinking. What happened in stage 2? First we store the water. Third stage we do chlorination. So in between what is done? We do filtration to remove insoluble impurities. Question 30. Question 30. Nitrogen monoxide produced in a car when a petrol is burned. The gases from a car engine are passed through a catalytical converter. In a catalytical converter, nitrogen monoxide react with carbon monoxide to form nitrogen and carbon dioxide. Which statement is not correct? Carbon monoxide is oxidized. That's true, because what happened, like oxides of nitrogen react with carbon monoxide. This result in a formation of nitrogen gas and carbon dioxide. So carbon monoxide is oxidized because oxygen is added. That's why we call that as oxidation. That's true. Carbon monoxide is produced by complete combustion. That's totally wrong, because carbon monoxide is produced by incomplete combustion. Nitrogen monoxide is formed by reaction of nitrogen with oxygen. That's true. And nitrogen monoxide is reduced. That's also correct, because if oxygen is removed, we call that as reduction. So carbon monoxide is oxidized. That's why we also call that as a reducing agent. And nitrogen monoxide is reduced. So we call that as oxidizing agent or oxidant. Question 31. Which pollutant gas can be produced as a result of incomplete combustion? If we are not able to burn it completely, with pollutant gas? Carbon dioxide is by complete combustion. Methane is not produced by this reaction. So carbon is also produced in incomplete combustion, but they specify a question that gas. If it was a solid is there, then carbon will be the answer. Question 32. For fertilizers, we need NPK, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. Question 32. C is the right answer. Why C is the right answer? Because which two compound will provide all three elements? So when you write the formula for each compound, you can, because we need nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So ammonium nitrate is NH4NO3, and calcium phosphate is Ca3PO4 in a bracket 2. So it is providing nitrogen, it is providing phosphorus, but there is no potassium. Ammonium nitrate and potassium sulfate. So ammonium nitrate, which is NH4NO3, and potassium sulfate is K2SO4. So it is providing nitrogen, it is providing potassium, but there is no phosphorus. Potassium nitrate, so KNO3, and calcium phosphate. So it is providing potassium, it is providing nitrogen, and it is phosphorus as well. All three elements are there. That's why C is the right answer. Question 33. What is the property of concentrated sulfuric acid but not dilute sulfuric acid? Concentrated sulfuric acid can be used as a dehydrating agent, like it can remove the water from the substance. It can neutralize an alkali, that's true. It produces a white PPT with barium nitrate because it will form barium sulfate. It reacts with metal to give salt and hydrogen, that's true. The only property which is used to distinguish between a concentrated sulfuric acid and a dilute sulfuric acid is the concentrated one is used as a dehydrating agent. It can remove the water from the substance. Like example, if you add a concentrated sulfuric acid to sugar or glucose, it will give a black solid which will be the carbon, and vapors are seen which are due to release or change emission of water molecules. Question 34. Why does a farmer put lime, the calcium oxide, on the soil? Lime is calcium oxide or metal oxide. What is the purpose of the metal oxide? Is to neutralize, to remove the acidity of the. It is not fertilizer. Why? Because it does not provide NPK. It is not to kill the pest. To make the soil less acidic, because it react with acid and make it neutral, so it will make it less acidic. Question 35. What is the name of fraction X? What we obtain between gasoline and kerosene? Which fraction? 35. Kerosene and paraffin is the same thing. Like when we say kerosene, it's also paraffin. That's the same thing. So this cannot be the alcohol. We don't obtain alcohol. Fuel oil is a heavy fraction. So between gasoline and kerosene, what we obtain? We obtain naphtha. Diesel is there, then fuel oil, lubricating oil. These are fractions below that. So this cannot be fuel oil. You're left with naphtha. You have to learn the order of these fractions. As we go down, it will become more viscous. The boiling point increase, the number of the carbon increase, the density will also increase. Which compounds are alkanes? Question 36. Which compounds are alkanes? The general formula of alkane CnH2n plus 2. Means the number of the hydrogen are twice plus 2. C4H10 number like 4 multiplied by 2, that's 8 plus 2, 10. So this is alkane. This is not X is not alkane. Why? Because the number of hydrogen are twice. C6H12, this is also not alkane. This is alkene because the number of hydrogen are twice. And this one W and Z, so B is the right answer. Question 37. Question 37. The statement below are about the alcohol homologous series. The alcohol have the same dash formula, so they have the same general formula. So either A can be answer, B can be answer, or C. The alcohol have dash chemical properties, so they have similar chemical properties. So it means B will be can be answer or C because they have a same dash. So what they have same? They have the same functional group. That's why C is a correct answer. And the melting point of alcohol increases as the number of the carbon increases. Question 38. Which structure represent a compound that dissolve in water to form an acidic solution? The organic compound which dissolve in water to give an acidic solution. This one is alkane, alkene, alcohol, and carboxylic acid. And acids are proton donors, so when they dissolve in water, they donate their proton. That's why D is the right answer. Question 39. What will be the structure of the monomer? To identify the structure of the monomer, what you will do, even in exam, you will hide, just take two carbon, the first two carbon, and hide rest of them. And just make a double bond between the two carbon atoms. Which one it matches with? So it matches with B. So B is the right answer. The last one, question 40. Which statement about polymer is correct? So the statement which is correct about the polymer, addition polymers are all biodegradable. No. Condensation polymer can all be hydrolyzed to give, can it all cannot give amino acids. Condensation polymer only exists as nature. There are synthetic also man-made. Forming addition polymer produce only one product. That's true. That's why we call them as addition polymerization. So this was February March 2016 paper 2 variant 2. First 20 questions I discussed in the last session and remaining 20 I discussed today.